Harper Audio presents Tales from a Wild Vet, Paws, Claws and Furry Encounters by Joe Hardy and Caro Handley, read by Emily Lucienne. Chapter 1. Mickey and the Miracle.
There's something wrong with Mickey. Can you help?
The elderly couple standing in front of me were visibly upset. She had tears in her eyes, and his lower jaw was trembling.
He's off his food. He's normally so full of life, but for the last couple of days he's been so quiet. And this morning he was sick and there was blood, they told me.
I looked at the small brown and white mutt sitting on the examining table, looking up at me solemnly with big, trusting brown eyes.
"Hello, Mickey," I said. "What's up with you, then?"
He was a mixed-breed terrier. There was probably a bit of Westie and a bit of Yorkie mixed in with some Cairn in his background. His eyes peered out through a fringe of white hair, and his small silky ears flopped over at a perky angle. I looked at his worried owners. "Let me take a look at him while you tell me a bit more about what's been going on. How old is Mickey?" His owners, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas, told me that he was 7, which is still fairly young for a small dog. He was a rescue dog, they explained. They'd found him at a dog pound when he was just a puppy, and they'd been devoted to him ever since. As I went through a basic examination, which Mickey tolerated patiently, I rattled through a mental index of possible causes for a dog vomiting blood. The trouble was, it could mean so many things. Had he swallowed a foreign body? Did he have a tumour? Did he have gastritis? Did he have stomach ulcers? Did he have worms? Or might it be an infection? This was my very first case as a fully qualified vet, and it had to be a complicated one. I had been hoping for something simple, a dose of worms perhaps, or a vaccination and a bit of flea advice. Instead, here was Mickey with his mystery condition. It was early August 2014, and I had been a vet for all of 3 weeks. After graduating from the Royal Veterinary College, RVC, I'd signed on with an agency as a locum, and here I was, on my first day at Braxton's, a small practice in East London, filling in for 2 weeks while the regular vets were on holiday. After 5 long years of study and training, I could still hardly believe that I'd actually made it. We'd been pushed to the limit, and never more so than in our final year, when we'd worked on rotation in every kind of practice, from small animal to stable to farm and even the zoo. It was non-stop, sometimes terrifying and constantly demanding. But no matter how tough the challenges, there had always been a qualified vet supervising everything I did. Now I suddenly felt as if I'd had the safety net whisked out from under me. For the first time, I was on my own. I took a deep breath. "I think we need to give Mickey an X-ray to see what's going on in his stomach. There are a number of things that could be wrong, and hopefully that will give us a much better idea of what it is and whether he might need surgery." Mickey's owners looked at me white-faced. "Will it cost much?" said Mrs. Thomas, "because we don't have pet insurance and we haven't got a lot of money." My heart sank. The sum they mentioned wouldn't cover the X-ray, let alone surgery, which could potentially run into hundreds of pounds. At college they'd taught us to diagnose and treat, but they'd given us very little advice about what to do in financially restricted situations. In an ideal world, you would want to get a specific diagnosis and treat it directly, but I was becoming increasingly aware that the situation with Mickey was far from ideal. At this stage, Mickey didn't seem like he was critically ill, and it also didn't seem like he had an obstruction, since he was passing stools. So I felt confident that we could trial some treatments and come back to talk about further diagnostics if he didn't improve, maybe with some financial help from a charity. So for now, all I could do was give Mickey the medication that his owners could afford and hope it would be enough.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?